well, maybe a slight change of plans, but not too much of a big change of plans. I was going to start cutting foam tonight, and I got this neat widget. Obviously, I need a better position for my camera further away to do some of this stuff as well, but turns out it takes C batteries. I don't have C batteries. This is a thing that actually you cut foam with. It's got this wire. You drop 2 C batteries in it. You push down this little copper thing, and it gets up to like 300 degrees and cuts right through it. Sounds horribly unsafe, but is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out some stuff on this this board that you're way too zoomed in on, and then I'll start painting some prop stuff. So just quickly, this board, using the piece of sandpaper that it came with to sort of get a reasonably straight edge. I can show it to you this way. Can't even see the line. I'll probably skip this part. Basically, I'm just going to cut it down. I'm going to use the extra piece of board. The plan here is to have sort of a mausoleum thing in the corner, back corner, so I can get some elevation. It'll probably come out about yay far. It'll be up on a hill. Sketch that out. Might have to go up 3 steps, but do that, and then do a funky mausoleum thingy. I probably want to have enough space around here on one ledge or something like that to actually get a model onto it. In fact, boom, that's the base size. So somewhere in this range, that's where the mausoleum will be. I do want to do some sort of water effect in here. So I should probably sketch that out somewhere. Say like maybe probably out in front is best because it'll dip down. So I'll do some sort of little pond. And then beyond that, I just want to have a bunch of tombstones and such. But that's basically just sketching stuff. I'm going to wait till I get the cutter. I've overnight ordered batteries. Nothing really uses C batteries all that much anymore, so it's a little bit of a shocker to open the thing up and find out that I was going to need them. But what I do have in its place is I've got some Necron Warriors. Let's give this a little scooch. There you go, buddy. Better. Tie my hair back real quick. And I also got a bunch of props in the mail, which are pretty cool things. Little fiddly bits that are just 3D printouts. I got a lot of them. Scooch that guy aside. It was a beautiful day for priming. So I got a lot of tree bits, some of which are bigger than others. I mean, they're basically just fallen branches. Some of them are actually stumps that are stood up and have some pretty neat little details in them. Little mushrooms and such. Just give this a little scooching. So lots of cool things. Really neat stumps. Fallen branches of various sizes. So I will paint some of those up to get started. And then modestly primed. These are tough to prime. Yeah, modestly primed plants and such. To get a proper spraying on these guys is not fun. You can't really, I mean, I guess I could have sticky tacked them each down individually, but I got all this like grassy stuff, and this will be good around whatever water feature that I do, so I'll paint some of those up, at least get them started. I got other mumbo jumbo as well that I didn't prime today, but I might as well just keep rocking the show and tell. Like, look at that, that's a nice little piece of grass. Let's see here, I'll stash that over there for now. Bag of stuff. Bag of stuff. Other things that I got is a bag of, Jesus, I don't even know what that is. Little concrete bits. Tiny little concrete stuff. I got some bigger ones too, like ones that can sit basically on a model base and just have like a guy next to it. More tiny plant stuff. That's going to be awesome to try to prime. And then, what other stuff did I go with? A bunch of weird mushrooms and plants. Yeah, mushrooms. And then, I might actually have to dump these little guys out to even show off. What the heck are these things? Lots of little battleground parts. I have no idea what that is. I think this is all dead stuff. I might need some of these. Yeah, graveyardy stuff. Bones, skulls, all of them with flat bases, rib cages, flies. I don't know how I'm going to prime these guys. Makes me want to get an airbrush. Maybe I'll get one for Christmas. I've been surviving so far with little ventilation in this room. Might as well push my luck. Oh, it came with a little note. That's me. Thank you for your order, and happy basing, Phil. I love it when stuff like that happens. People just put their own little thank you note in your stuff you ordered. And all that stuff just came from this place called Epic Basing, which I just saw on Instagram. They had a lot of posts going on. Yeah, paint fumes galore. It's funny, so many of the things that I do, it's like, make sure you're in a very well ventilated space. But you can get a thing about yay big. It's essentially a hood with a bunch of filters in it. And they're not cheap, but they're not prohibitively expensive. And basically, it's a platform with a hood. It's got a fan that runs in it, which I'm imagining would be terrible to be on mic and use it at the same time, but we'll see. Maybe I'll clip on a lavalier. But it filters all the stuff, all the particles out of the air, paint fumes, all that good stuff. So I got an airbrush. I could probably do with one of those, but most of my painting I do at night. And it's got an air compressor, so that's no bueno. First world problems. Got to buy a new house with an outside building like a external garage or a shed and convert that into a painting room and office. And then I will properly be in business. So what I think I will do, oh man, that guy's head is jacked up. I didn't bother filling that in. I'm not sure. He kind of looks all right. What I'm going to do is paint me some props so I can get that ball a-rolling. And I might just blitz through all of my Necrons with at least the dry brushing. That seems pretty sane as a project. Do I do them with Sycorax Bronze? I think I will do Sycorax Bronze. Yeah, I might as well crank these guys out. They're all just chilling. It was such nice priming weather today. A light breeze, but it was gusty. So you could sort of wait for it to die down. And then go nuts, prime a bunch of stuff. But it wasn't blowing so fast that you couldn't leave everything out there. It's a good amount of sun. It's 80 degrees in my house today. Wild. I'm going to start with some trees. Let's start with the new stuff. Just fallen branches. I will probably want to dry brush these, I would think, or at least I'm going to find out. I've got dryad bark. It seems like a pretty sound place to start. Let's see if I can get this. That's about as good as it's going to be. My camera came down earlier. That was exciting. By exciting, I mean no bueno. But nothing got damaged, so that's good. And a new dry brush. Alright, so I also grabbed from some Mornfang brown that I can use for a lighter color highlight on these. You can see one is very chocolatey, one is significantly lighter. So I'm just going to get down to business. Start treeing up some trees. Thankfully, I could Amazon overnight the batteries. Not doing any favors to the planet by doing that, but I do order a lot of stuff from Amazon. All right, let's see how this goes. I guess I'm only sort of dry brushing. I mean, I'm trying to not get it in all the recesses, but even if I do, it's pretty dark stuff. I think that'll work. And then I can go with a much lighter touch on the lighter brown. I do want to try a few different things with these because I have so many of these bits and they're trees. This is going to be funky to do though. Run out of places for my hands to be. I do have contrast paint Cygor brown. I don't know what a Cygor is. Is Cygor a person? So many things to learn. But because this is going to be spooky, it's absolutely okay if, like, it's even beyond okay. It's good if the recesses on these things are pretty dark. Yeah, a little clipping in there to do, but I'll handle that later. That is brown. Brown it is. Does contrast paint do anything on top of black? I'm not even sure I've ever tried. Oh yeah, that stuff is dark. Well, we're gonna find out. Let me get cleaned all my brushes today. Now all my stuff's in the cleanest room today. Did it. Grab a few different things while I'm standing over here. Spent a lot of time in the lab cleaning and cleaning. Yoink. Yeah, it's super dark. Totally unnoticeable on the camera. It would be interesting. I can imagine. I go with this darker dryad bark, then go with lighter Mornfang brown, and then perhaps after it, I go back and I hit it with the Cygor. I could dry brush up like a medium sort of look. Go ahead and close that stuff for now. We're not going to get to that. Sort of get a medium brown going, and then maybe even go lighter. Hit it with some white, and then go back and contrast it. That might just be like 80 layers too much for a branch, but the nice thing about all these little pieces is they're not actually, you know, my army, so I can definitely experiment with them as much as I want. As you well know, I do treasure my experiments. So I'm going to hit one of these right out the gate with Mornfang brown. Just 'cause. Just see what it looks like with just the lighter stuff on it. It's a pretty solid model. Like, it's nice and craggy. There's a good amount of detail in it. I am pleased with these folks. Their delivery was pretty quick. We've got a lot of neat stuff. Do have to get to the bottom of this because it's not a tree. Yes, I have doomed my hands to being brown. All right, so I'm grabbing another one. Very similar one. And I will glop some Mornfang on this brush instead. And just see how painfully light that is. I'll just use a shtick and put some in the corner because I'm almost certainly going back to the dark stuff in a minute. I'm not going to switch my brush up because I don't care. Get something a little lighter on here. No, it's not bad. It's not too light. See them next to each other. I definitely think you could stand. Hey, what's up, Dan? Trees, trees, trees. You guys just all jammed in here. It's a party. It's a party. Maury, I don't know when I'm getting started. I guess it's for everybody because you're all my homies, but I don't know when I'm getting started, but I'm going to start doing some game design essays. Might be a different channel. We'll see. It's really bright and zoomed in. All right. I might have to change that. It's freestyling. That's actually better, I think. Changing things live. Oh, that's so scary. That looks dark to me. It is very zoomed in. I'll go back up a notch. So come to think of it, I actually like this Mornfang a lot. And I think I'm going to switch. Yeah, I'll keep going. I'll start dark. I will start all of these guys dark. It's definitely still got some of that old dryad bark on it. But yeah, I might start doing some game designy stuff. I think I probably have to start a different channel to do it. I had so many topics on my mind in terms of game design that we'll see. Only so many hours in the day. But there are absolutely times when, like, I could be writing or recording some stuff and not painting. I need to be interruptible. I just sort of feel like making use of that time. All right. So yeah, tree bits. Very cool. Very, very cool. We got stumps. We got stumps. Yeah, I'll stick with this lighter stuff. Honestly, I think it's probably a 50-50 mix between the light stuff and the dark stuff that's going to win this out. And I'll just go over the mushrooms additionally later. But yeah, this should be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this little project. It's going to take me way longer than till Halloween, that is for sure. There we go. Maybe just one more. So now, yeah, this guy's relatively dry. I'm going to actually, with a light hand, dry brush this guy. I suppose. I'm not sure it's worth the effort. Yeah, it does look better. Like so many things, multiple passes do look better. I just need to embrace it. All right, maybe just a couple more of these guys. For resin printouts, the texture on these are pretty good. Very knotty. Not naughty, but knotty wood. Lots of grain going through it. Now I gotta figure out how the heck I'm gonna do those plants. This will be my last bit of tree business for now. Just keep getting in those little nooks and crannies. All right. Got a reasonably good pile of branches. Dry brush this guy a little bit. It does look good. The dark first, then the dry brush is definitely the way to go. You can always go a little heavier with the dry brush in certain spots if you feel like lightening it up. Yeah, that is good. Lots of texture. All right, that's plenty of trees. Now let's get on to the difficult part of this, which is absolutely going to be random pile of plants that are mediocre in their priming. So hard. These things just kept rolling everywhere. Everywhere. But we'll figure it out. So there's a couple little finicky spots on these that I do got to keep an eye out for. I mean, they're in relatively awesome shape, but they do have a couple little. Oop, see that? Here, a couple little bits that you got to clip off. Very carefully. But these are nice and soft. They're a far cry. Oh, I can bend them. A far cry from the fine cast model I was coping with the other day. Spin that guy around. You are a dedicated viewer, my friend. Might as well hang out for a bit while you're waiting for an ambulance. As much as I'm giggling a bit, I do hope all things are good um, in the end. But yeah, exact priorities. Absolute savage. All right, I do need to wash this brush a bit though. I need to treat some of my brushes a little better. Alrighty. It is funny. I had a crazy amount of blue in. I'm just gonna leave that in the drink for now. Crazy amount of blue in my paint water. Oh, other side note. Because you all are here. I went over. It wasn't. Remember last night? Total non sequitur. But went over last night. I was like, I don't like the green. I went over it with white, and I will hit it again with some more green over it. Yeah, I mean that stuff is just kind of scary, and sometimes sometimes your body's just like, yep, I'm tired, I'm out. But do I do hope everything's cool. And that, well, contrast medium's not really coming up on this, but who cares? Most of this is experimentation. So I'm using Militarum Green because it's contrast. I'm hoping that it'll make my life somewhat easy. Because if this paint works, the nice thing about contrast paint is you can just glop it on and let it do the rest. And it appears to be, I can go over that green with something more colorful in these little sprouts, but you know, my Death Guard green, very convenient as a primer color. Excuse me. I'm getting all over this guy with some Militarum green. That's actually a really good color. I don't think I've used it all that much. It's probably why the contrast medium's just like piled up in the bottom of that pot. But I like it. I should use it more often. See if I can get you to see any of the texture on that. I mean, all the veins and like ribbing on the plant show through nicely. I think that is going to be the way to go. This is the real question. Can it handle all this biz? Obviously, I got to get in there a bunch. Should I just dunk it? Get a bunch of contrast medium, put a little pale. Yeah, this brush is not going to be happy, but it's a straight up base brush. It'll be fine. It is very nice working with things that aren't your actual units because, like, yeah, my thumb's going to be covered in paint, but like, it's kind of hard to put thumbprints on a blade of grass as opposed to like a pauldron. And if it came down to it, I'd let you be my nom, keep you in the basement, only pull you out on special occasions. You'd make an excellent dreadnought. Well, I mean, that looks grassy. When it dries out, I may be looking at a decent chunk of work. I've still got to drip a bunch in there, but I have a green wash. The temptation to wear latex gloves right now is pretty high, but I'm not gonna. It's still pretty warm in here. My hands will just sweat inside of them. But yeah, if I've got a little water feature in this graveyard scene, which I'm definitely going to do. Put a bunch of these little plants just boop in there. You're not supposed to use the water stuff. They say further than 3 millimeters, which is actually pretty deep. You can get a lot done that way. At least 3 millimeters in a singular pass. So I've seen really cool stuff where they take little props like this and you sit them in there and then you glue them down to the bottom. And then you just pour the water medium stuff enough. It's not even a medium. Water goop, probably the technical term, to just float up around them. You get this really neat effect. I think what I might do is do 2 runs of the water stuff. Put that down, grab my snips. And the bottom I'll make murky because you can add paint to it. Do whatever color you want. And then the next layer will be clear. I might do several layers. And then that way you can sort of not see everything at the bottom. I could put some weird bones and junk in there, have them creeping out. Should be fun. Green fingers, green fingers. And it is really neat to just get a pile of little bits as props and just sit around painting them. And like if I don't use them all, now they're at least primed. I can pack them away somewhere and just, for my regular bases, have a bunch of these guys. And that was sort of the point of this, deciding to do a diorama, is it forces me into getting my hands on some stuff, doing the prep work on it. Man, this militarum green is awesome. I think it just looked like garbage in the pot because I only noticed it when I picked it up this time. All the contrast medium was just like glopped on the bottom. It was buried. I like this color a ton. And like over Death Guard green, it is nice. I'm going to use you a lot more often. There we go. More little plants. Let's see how my makeup brush is doing. And had a lot of brown pushed in. You clearing up? It is starting to clear up. That's good. Just needs to soak for a while. I know that's terrible for the brush, but I'm a terrible person. All right, so I will. Trying to think of all the things that I should try to do in one diorama to just get experience. I thought about buying some lights. I'm not buying lights. That is a bridge too far for me. I have enough lighting around that I can put around the thing. Like these guys up here, they go to whatever colors needed, so I can use those for mood lighting around it. But I did look into it, and I was like, I don't want to wire up lights into it. Just treat this mainly as a physical medium thing, not a UV project. UV? No, AV. All right. So once again, we just keep an eye out for anything that needs to get snipped. They're pretty thin little lines. I mean, they're just little connectors. 2. I'll have several ball jars lying around with my tools in them instead of just leaving them sprawled out all over the place. Spent 2 hours in this room today while the kiddos were sleeping, cleaning and reorganizing. It barely looks like it. I know it is though. Like many of my paints are up on the racks. It feels good. Most of my tools and materials are now somewhat organized again. Alrighty. Green grass it is. These are going to look so awesome coming out of the water. There we go. Contrast paint was made for plants. Yeah. Um, I don't know what it's like where you're living, but in the States, ambulances vary a lot time wise based on where you're at. Obviously, there's a volume issue. There's only so many ambulances, but oof, I haven't had to call one in my current house. I don't actually know how quick it is out here, but I live in the burbs, so it's probably pretty fast. All right. I am in my tiny lack of attention span. Gonna also move forward from those guys. Give this guy a wash. Well, at least you're in good spirits. Not for the diorama, but because I'm morbidly curious. I got concrete, and I'm going to just do a couple of them just to see how they look. So this guy, like you literally just put it on a base. This one's a little bit big, but some of the smaller ones, they got rebar in them. You just put it on a base with some dude, park it right next to someone. Don't know if I have any right now. I mean, you'd have to do it with thought in mind, but like that guy with some rebar behind him would be dope. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. So, what I'm going to do is I think I have a gray out here. Nope, I got two Corax whites. Didn't grab a gray. I think we have like Mechanicum standard gray. I am going to do a little bit of concrete just to see what it looks like. Dawnstone. Earth flesh. Thought I had gray. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Yeah. There we go. It had to be somewhere. I got Dawnstone. I hit these with some gray. You got to keep your chin up. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you got to roll with the punches. Otherwise, you go nuts. I mean, that's just the way that is. Stay in good spirits. It's good for keeping you healthy as well. All right. So we want to do at least one of these concrete beamy things. I'll do a big one because it'll show it off the most. I have so much running out of space. This stuff is pretty dark. Oof. There we go. Not so much dry brushing as just trying to get not all the way into the recesses. And this is like very much a base coat. Get a little bit of texture out of it. Just get stuff to show up. And I'll hit it with something lighter. You get all these little girders and things you can do with metallics and rust, which, as you well know, I do love me some rust. But for like a mid-sized model, like a piece like this, man, very, very cool addition to it. Like I could see it. I mean, it's too late, but knowing it, like you sort of offset the model a bit, get some urban mumbo jumbo going. All right, so close that, and then do a little dawnstone. I'm gonna gloop this out with a shtick. There we go. Snap that, chuck it. Man, I moved my trash can even closer to me, and I have missed every toss I've made for it so far today. Things I care about. Now this, I am actually trying to dry brush and just get all those edges. That's a flat piece. You can see my thumbprint right on it. Whoa, all that talk before doing props. Don't have to worry about it. And you do. All right, that's coming up nice. Like that. And then for my last trick, it's even lighter. It's not lighter. My last trick. Take a little bit of Corax white and mix it in. Just clean these guys off. Oh, these brushes take an awesome beating. Good job, brushes. Nice. Probably use that one again tonight. And we'll dip a little bit of white in here. Oh, that's gloppy. That's one thing I really don't like about these paints and these pots is that, like, I don't want to get an automatic shaker, but I don't want to sit here every time I pull out a pot that I haven't used in a while and, like, be forced to just shake the thing for a day. I did see someone had like an automated one, not automated, it was just a mechanical one. It was just like you flip a switch, like a little USB powered thing. I was like, ooh, that's a sign that you've made it. Is that a little thing on your desk to shake for you? I don't think I'm that important yet. All right, that was excessive. That was excessive. A little wet. Yeah, just bring that edge up a little bit. Super soft brush. All that gnarly stuff on that edge. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Concrete pillar. Very cool. I will just set that out there. All right, all that stuff, all of my Necrons are still, not Necrons, all of my terrain is still drying in a clump over here. I am going to return to Trazen. I edge that stuff in white. We're going to see if this turns out the way I had hoped it would, where it's a little bit brighter. I even donked his eyes. You can see I got his eyes. Try this whole effort again and see if it looks like how I want it to look. And if it does, And this will just be the last coat of this, and then some point later I'll hit it with, is that going to be thick enough? Oh yeah, that's, now it's too light underneath. Interesting. I don't think it's bad. Now my contrast paint does nothing. Thank God, I was going to just lazily do it and at least put some lines in there. I think in some spots it'll be fine. I'm hearing a faint siren. Progress. Definitely progress. I don't know. That might work. I do eventually have to hit it with Tesseract Glow. That brush is massive. You're not doing eyes with that brush. Maybe when I get to the Tesseract Glow phase, it'll pop enough. Eyeball the first. Eyeball the second. Come on, buddy. Steady hands. Steady hands. The blue wash was just a mix of all manner of blue things that I had. See the mixing that I did. It's a little different on the backside. A lot darker, heavily washed. Yeah, Drakenhof Nightshade. But the actual ribs on this thing got there's a mixture of like Neolac oxide and a couple other things. So it's kind of a mix. I kind of tried to. I literally at the start of this was like, I don't think I'm going to go with what's on the label, and then clearly that didn't last. I ended up liking it the more I did it. All right, this guy can sit and chill. I hope. I need to keep him upside down for a little bit. Yeah, I'm very hopeful that when I finally get to, speaking of stuff that sticks to the bottom, when I get to this phase, this whole back was all Drakenhof. It's that stuff is dark, but based on how thick or thin you do it, it varies a lot more than other contrasts. I'm gonna hit this guy with this glow. God, should I get those little marble things you throw in here? I probably should. Anyway, that Tesseract glow should bring up those lines a lot. Now we move on to the, I guess it's the feature part of the evening, at least for me. Just dry brushing the daylights out of a bunch of dudes. Get a different piece of craft board. I'm going to do these guys in bronze as opposed to a steely looking thing. I think it'll look cool. And I am going to hit all, I will at some point. I don't really want to go out in this rain. Oh man. It's not your day, homie. All the parts that I want to glow on this, I'm going to hit with a little white. So it'll be sort of, I don't even know what those called. The cells of the gun, the little dots there. Edge of the blade. the eyes. They'll all get some amount of, oof, that's a lot of paint, buddy. Nothing in half measures, I guess. But if I want the green to glow out of them, oh yeah, you're pretty. You're a shiny little robot. This metallics over black is just such a revelation. I can't believe I haven't been doing this the whole time. So funny when I was working on that tyrant. You're like, oh, why don't you try this? Like, what the what? It's just fun. Fun stuff. Look at that dude. He's already looking rad. I haven't even gotten the whole thing yet. I may need to get in here with a much tinier one to follow up. I don't know. I mean, the nice thing about these makeup brushes is that the bristles on them are pretty long. Like, I'm beating the daylights out of the brush, but you can absolutely scooch in there and get to work. Brushes are way longer on these than what I'm used to from actual modeling brushes. I'm guessing they don't last nearly as long. I mean, doink. Just like that. Things move fast. Get in that thigh. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, he's good enough for now. I do think I am going to have to get in with a tinier brush in a couple spots. But as a starting point, like, all of his details popping now, which is fantastic. He's not purely silver, which I like. Pretty sure my colors my lights are a little bit blue in here, which I should probably work on that too at some point. Color does matter. But look at that, all that robotic detail. Done and done. I'll go for a much golder thing on all the little intricate pieces. I'll dab some white here, dot, 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 dot. Make the gun look cool. Those guys are going to be excellent, excellent skeletons in my diorama. Make sure I'm not doing anything weird. That's funny. Pokemon Go opened up on its own. Why are you buzzing, phone? All right. Magic time number 2. So shiny. I do like these models a lot. Like, I don't think I'm going with a Necron army next, but man, do I like these guys. They are convenient to paint, and they're so spindly. I've always liked skeletons and weird Egyptian stuff. By weird, I don't mean that Egyptians are weird. I mean weird takes on Egyptian stuff. Like the idea that these guys are just like so inspired by pharaohs and all that is just to me pretty cool. There we go. It's just magical, this whole process. I have nice shiny fingers by the time I'm done too. Bonus. Get under his little footies. I like the fact that these have soft bristles. I feel less like I'm going to break everything when I have to sneak in there. It's going to be famous last words. I'm going into some pretty frail pieces, but oop, sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to drop you. There you go. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Everybody's getting a shiny makeover. Sip some tea here. I mean, for just a couple minutes of work, what a difference. So pretty. So pretty. These guys are going to be awesome haunting my little graveyard scene. I got to think of some fun stuff to bury in the water. I just got to figure out. I got to up my skill in green stuff. I got to make some like pumpkins or something. I do need to like, as much as I went out and like ordered a bunch of props, I feel like I absolutely have to make some by hand. Validate myself as an artiste. I don't believe in that at all, but just to get the experience for it. This is all about, much as I'm really not building the diorama right now. Well, I am. The props count, but oh, Dean. Do you need to call him again? Like as much as I'd be honored if you died on my stream, I'd appreciate like I'd seriously prefer that you were like in a good spot right now, man. Yeah, call again. Thank you. One of the things I do like about Necrons, just rules wise, is very much like the Death Guard. They have their own like, sort of special officers. It's all weird stuff like Chronomancer, Psychomancer. I love that stuff. Like the Tally Man. Just having their own sort of like lore based reason for their leaders, I think is neat. Just spin that guy up in there. Oh, you poor brush. You still feel all right. Yep, the bristles are long enough where you can just get in there. Weird, this Sycorax, and it's not the only metallic that I've used that does it. It sort of like curdles a little bit as it sits in there. It gets, it just starts, it's separating. I guess I should shake it, but weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. Magic. Just magic. I think I got in there. There we go. You just take your time. Dry brushing is extremely therapeutic. Take your time with it. Let it go where it's going to go. Get this guy's junk. There we go. Scooch that gun aside, buddy. Yeah, he looks reasonably shiny. Just polishing Necrons. It's extremely satisfying. I may never play Necrons, or if I do, it may just be because I so much just enjoy this one step that I just keep buying Necrons till I have an army, and then I'm like, well, at that point, maybe I should just take them for a spin. A little sad that I haven't gotten to play in a couple of weeks, but things have just been so busy around here, and my wife's had a ton to do. I do got to get back out there, get my Mortarion on the table, get him killed turn one. The rite of passage. There we go. Inside. Necron diorama, here we come. I think tomorrow I will finally feel like I'm actually on vacation. Not because anything dramatic has happened. I've been on vacation since Thursday, but it always takes me a while. My long weekend never cuts it. It always takes me a while to just get my mind set into a spot where, like, not only not work tomorrow, but not the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Got all of this coming week off. I think tomorrow's going to be the day I pull all the Halloween stuff out of the attic, do a bunch of decoration, get the fog machines out. So that's the other thing is this diorama. That when I do the sort of presentation photos of it, I will have my fog machines around so I can fire those things up, make it super spooky. Get in there. You poor brush. Fog machines are awesome. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna. I wish I could just leave that stuff up all year round. I put them right over my door. So when basically the two fog machines, they're about the size of a shoebox each. And I have them sit, I have a set of stairs right inside the doorway, the front door. And then off to the side is my dining room. And there's just an open railing there. And I have tubes that come off of the front of these shoe boxes, these fog machines, shoebox sized things. And the tubes run up the wall and then over, and then they're perforated for the last few feet. So they hang over the doorway. So when I'm going to, someone rings the doorbell, says trick or treat, I can very casually lean to the side and just push the button and have just fog pour down. It's pretty dramatic. I changed the lights out to like red and black light bulbs. I probably won't be myself handing out too much candy this year because I'll be taking my kids out. But my sister will be standing in for me at the house while I'm out. But I have like the whole plague doctor kind of outfit thing going. It's pretty spooky, if I do say so myself. Alrighty. Only two more left to metallicize. Oh, this guy's pretty neat. He's like, I didn't notice that. Maybe these guys really are different. I mean, they're supposed to be very similar. Very, very similar, but I just noticed this guy has no plate on that leg. There's no top of shin plate. That'd be crazy if I just didn't give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, oh, they all look the same. Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to look, they're all off the printing press the same, but they've been weathered differently. That's like really interesting to me that I didn't notice that. Like my inner bias. Let's see. Let's have a look. Nope, that guy's legs are good. Interesting. I mean, yeah, I knew their heads would be different. But that's weird. Top of this thing. Strange. It's an absolute treat to like pick out and find the little details that they've added in. These models are just full of like, they're not Easter eggs, but someone's stuck doing it, stuck making them. If your job is to make like a ton of Necrons and make them look different, it's a pretty big challenge because Death Guard, easy. They're all full of bespoke, cute little treats. Necrons, not as easy to do. There we go. Just getting inside all those little funny spots. Been very busy. Saw people coming out of the bar. Everybody leaving the pub, getting in fistfights. Drinking too much. Saturday night crowd eats up all the ambulances. Ugh, that stinks, man. It's like one thing to, yeah, no, it did most definitely. Friday and Saturday nights, at least over here, definitely are. It's got to be the same where you're at. They're just notorious times where police and ambulances just get gobbled up. I used to work in bars a lot. I don't know why I ever did this, but I was a bouncer for a couple of years. And like, it's not always people fighting. Like sometimes someone just slips, especially when people are drinking. You got to call an ambulance for them. Like Friday and Saturday nights, it's just like, yeah, you might be waiting for a bit. I mean, there's more people on, but it's just much more of a wait. All right, get in there. Sneak in, find this guy's legs. Get all up in here. I should use this tinier one up there. Man, these makeup brushes are awesome. I know I'm damaging the thing, but like, it's still very soft. Still in like pretty good shape. I'm like beating it up, trying to get it into all these weird spots. It is performing. I mean, that's neat. I mean, these are like, these look better than a lot of the models I've seen people play on the table with. I never understood when I got started the whole like taking care of the gray model issue. And like the one game that I played, everyone was proxying, which is absolutely fine. And then I looked over at another table and it was like another table of just like all proxied and unpainted stuff. But it was people like just having a blast playing. It's that weird with me, definitely. All right, this thing's weird. I've got to make this staff pop. So the eyes definitely worked. Staff, like doing the white behind it, definitely helped. The second coat of contrast kind of jacked it up. So we're gonna go in there, crack open this wet palette, get down to business. this moderately wet palette. Hit this thing with some water. And go into Tesseract Glow. Going to Old Reliable. Carefully check this thing out. Shaking my paint. I mean, honestly, for this stuff alone, I may just end up just ordering one of those auto shakers. Just leave this thing permanently shaking. So annoying. I want to get in there with a whisk. What's this brush doing? Yeah, this brush is fine. Let's do a little more cleanup on this guy. Yeah, I'll just let him soak for a bit. All right, Tesseract Glow, do your thing. Alrighty. Do your thing. I mean, do more than that. I don't think this Tesseract Glow is going to solve my problems. It's nice and shiny. I like that part of it. I like that part a lot, but I don't know. Maybe I just got to leave it for a bit. Tesseract Glow is weird. It soaks in weird. Takes a while for it to get going. But that neon-y sort of green is not an instant effect. At least I've found. Oh, I gotta sneak in there. It's looking better. Still not looking great. I feel like there's still one more thing I gotta do to this staff. I don't know what it is right now. Maybe white was a little strong. Maybe instead of white, I should have taken something that was like, done an extra step, something that was more like a light green. I don't know. Tough to tell. Like those lines up here are just like super strong right now. So now, one last hold on this guy. A little dab in his eyes. Maybe not that much on the brush. Little dab on his eyes. Get his little guts. I'm going to do like a graveyard scene. It's going to have a little, not a mausoleum, but one of those little standing up things that you, not just a gravestone in the corner. I think I'm going to have this guy, my buddy Trazen, standing over it, standing right out in front. To be nice and meta, because you see it's a diorama, and he has dioramas, and now he's in my diorama. That's how things get crazy. A few more dabs of this stuff. I mean, it certainly looks better than it did. Obviously, I got to clean up the daylights out of that metal stuff. All right. You can stand by yourself. He's so jacked up with how he's standing forward, like, Urgh. That poor guy. All right, so what I did before on him was white as a background for the parts that were going to be all crazy green. And I literally just said maybe I don't want to do it so white. I'm a little less worried for these guys because it's nothing stripy. But that said, I could probably use something a little darker, like Celestra Gray. At least I'm not getting super hard white lines on there. In fact, if I'm savvy about it, I'll actually mix it with a little hex wreath. That seems like a smart call, right? Sure it does. Sure it does. I'll just mix it on the wet palette and be done with it. All right, so grab a few drops of that. Man, that is like super green. I love it. Love it. A few drops of that. And then I'll have something lighter, but not absolute screaming white. I can use it for their blades. The blades don't check, at least how the box does it. The blades themselves on here do not shine. Okay, those are other Necron models. Some guys that have these huge blades that are all green. Those are probably powered weapons because they're special. Use a different brush to mix this up. Man, that stuff does not want to mix at all. It's like base plus contrast. Not happy. It's going. Just taking some time. There we go. I'm probably not going to do all these guys. Yeah, and my wet palette thingy. The pad on my wet palette has fallen apart because I've had it on here for days. Days on end. So, oh my God, I just boned that. Take it easy, man. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great day. A little tiny dot on each one of these, gently. You can see that. All I'm trying to do is lighten it up. The tubes are supposed to be colored, but I might not do those. I'll do these things. Just lightening this up so that when it gets its crazy green later, it's going over something a little lighter as a backdrop. I think with a little bit of green added into it, it's got a better chance of success, not turning up like my boy Trazen did. Oh, those eyes are okay. I'll decide if I want to do those tubes later. I'll put these guys in the back when they are done. Yeah, I think this is a much better call. It's just like closer color, harkens to the green that they're going to get. They got dots on the other side. Of course they do. That wasn't so good. Oh, his eyes all jacked up. That's pretty awesome. Another detail I didn't really notice all that well is the side of his head's all kind of blown out. This is a good opportunity for more spooky green. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Glop some of that in the side of his head. Spin him around, hit these dots. Oh, my precious shaky hands. Shaky hand syndrome. These dots. I gotta get the dots on this other guy. That guy's gonna be fun. I like that. Took a shot to the head. Put that somewhere a little better there. Dot, 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 dot. More dots. This is the spicy part. Tap, 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 tap. He's got green in there. We did it. It is really interesting to me how paint just flows up the brush. Just keep tapping with the end of it. Just back flows up the brush the whole way. I really struggled with tiny brushes when I got started. Now I just mostly struggle with them, but I understand them now. I'm just not good with them. Like my hands haven't gotten much steadier. But by using them more, you really get a sense of what they're for. A lot of times, it's not really a brush stroke you're doing. It's just a little tap. You see people using the edge of the brush a lot. That I didn't get at all starting out. Doing edge highlights and just not using the tip of the brush at all just didn't quite click with me. Oh, getting wobbly. The late night wobbles. Oh yeah, I totally forgot the other piece of the guns on these guys. Urgh. I think I'm running out of gas mentally. Flip them over. I got those dots. Again. Yeah, why not? These gun bits. Just laying the paint in. It's going to sit in that little divot. Do what it's got to do. Good backup for the super green. Oof. Oof. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to drop you. Pick a little bit up and put it back down. Alrighty. I'll do one more. famous last words. Another dab of paint. And some eyeballs. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. All right, so we got trees of various darkness, grass and stuff that could still use some highlighting, skelelots, which will be my skeleton army in my graveyard scene. I think that's a good place to call it, given the fact that I'm starting to see things. My eyes are getting weary. I'm not seeing figments of my imagination, but I'm missing steps here and there on different models. So I am going to call it a night. Dane, whenever you figure out what's up, go ahead and check in on the Discord and just make sure we know you're okay. And I hope everything works out. I'm going to take off for the night. For everyone that showed up, thank you very much. We will see you next time. I should have the C batteries overnight, in which case next time we do this, I will chop up some XPS foam, start building out a proper graveyard. Have a good night. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.